Good evening and welcome to TV47 Weekend Edition and Her Say by extension. So tonight on Her Say, we celebrate the Lady Rangers. 31st of July every year, there's that celebration of the Rangers. You want to call it World Rangers Day. And of course, looking at this, we decided to get down into the bush or in the wild, by the way, to find out whether there are any ladies who are actually in this activity of ranging, if you'd want to call it that. And we have found two. One of the biggest questions I wanted to, basically ask them is, what does it take to be a ranger? What is the education qualification? These ladies are master degree holders. I don't know whether that is what places them there, but we'll be having that conversation just to get to find out how they are here, how they find their way here, but of importance, celebrate their role in making sure that they conserve our very own wildlife. Karibu sana. This is TV47 Weekend Edition with me, Linda Alela. Allow me to say jumbo to my guests. They have told me before we started this that Akuda Salute, that salute is not just for everybody, and we are delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
The conversation about conserving wildlife has been ongoing, environment and all that. Not everyone is bold enough to get into this space, and therefore we appreciate what it is that we do.
Thank you.
Or you do. Karibu sana on Her Say. Before we get to that very important conversation, we have so much lined up for you in the world of news, and here are the highlights. Tonight, political leaders from ODM, John Badi and Opiyo Wandayi, undergo vetting by members of parliament, expecting to take their new positions as cabinet secretaries in the Kenya Kwanza government.
Nothing has changed because the positions that are being occupied by ODM before or subsequent to new nominees being processed to be members of the cabinet.
And Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja finds himself in trouble after angry individuals chase him away from Toi Market, which burned in a dawn inferno.
Unachomeka. Kukuja kufika singeweza kuokoa anything because moto ilikuwa ishafika kabisa.
In our special feature today, we focus on a community striving to survive despite the harsh conditions in Boni forest.
Kulikuwa na watu zaidi ya watu 800. Hiyo yote yalikuwa ni majumba watu kwa wamekaa. Lakini sasa hii maisha vile imekuwa ni watu waache makwao.
My name is Linda Alela. A sign language interpreter on the other end is Catherine Simaloi. We start off with what has been taking center stage in the country politically, and we now have different cabinet nominees being scrutinized by the National Assembly Appointments Committee about their capabilities in serving in the ministries that they have been designated to serve. The first nominee in the hot seat today, of course, we got to witness was ODM chairperson John Badi, who has been nominated for the Finance and Planning docket. Members of Parliament sought to know how he will blend in with the Kenya Kwanza bottom-up concept, which he has criticized before. Senior parliamentary reporter Elizabeth Mutuko with the details to that.
What is your net worth?
The Speaker, I need to explain this. From the time I was...
Sports Ministry nominee Kipchumba Murkomen, who recently apologized for perceived opulence and flashy lifestyle in public, and also responded to Gen Z criticism of public servants' opulence and waste, appeared before legislators Saturday for his vetting.
I got an opportunity.
Answer the first question.
No, I will add it, Mr. Speaker. Just give me 1 minute.
What is your net worth?
I will conclude with it.
The former transport CS declaring that he is worth
From the 550 that I declared when I was last year appointed, it is now 620 million, Mr. Speaker.
As Kenyans continue to grumble due to the high cost of living, Cabinet Secretary nominees appear to bear a different burden, with many announcing a significant increase in the value of their assets over the past 12 months.
It goes through another vetting. Kenyans will want to know
How did your wealth grow?
How did your wealth grow?
And as it is the norm, this was the final question for each nominee.
Can you tell us your net worth?
Today, the first on the list was John Badi.
A bit of a tweak there, but all the same, we get to a different one that is largely as well about the nominations that we have seen. And that particular one, where 5 nominated cabinet secretaries today appeared before the National Assembly's committee that is on appointments for a vetting exercise to assess whether they have the capacity, that is, to hold ministerial positions after being proposed by the head of state. And as Ruga Ival now reports, the 5 emerged, of course, or the 5 it emerged were all millionaires.
What is your net worth?
The Speaker, I need to explain this. From the time I was...
Sports Ministry nominee Kipchumba Murkomen, who recently apologized for perceived opulence and flashy lifestyle in public, and also responded to Gen Z criticism of public servants' opulence and waste, appeared before legislators Saturday for his vetting.
I got an opportunity.
Answer the first question.
No, I will add it, Mr. Speaker. Just give me 1 minute.
What is your net
worth? I will conclude with it.
The former transport CS declaring that he is worth
From the 550 that I declared when I was last year appointed, it is now 620 million, Mr. Speaker.
As Kenyans continue to grumble due to the high cost of living, Cabinet Secretary nominees appear to bear a different burden, with many announcing a significant increase in the value of their assets over the past 12 months.
It goes through another vetting. Kenyans will want to know
How did your wealth grow?
How did your wealth grow?
And as it is the norm, this was the final question for each nominee.
Can you tell us your net worth?
Today, the first on the list was John Badi, who was being interviewed to determine if he has the experience and ability to take on the role of Cabinet Secretary Treasury. And upon being asked the net worth question, Badi stated,
"My net worth, Mr. Speaker, is 80 million.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, however, wanted to know how Badi arrived at the amount and instructed him to provide a detailed breakdown.
And Mr. Speaker, my net worth, the difference between, I saw some of my colleagues have done their calculation differently, but my understanding of net worth is it's assets less liabilities. Yeah, 437
less 57
assets.
million liabilities.
Yes.
You are 380.
Yeah, and the liabilities is mortgage within Parliamentary Service Commission.
Circle loans.
About 31, about 20 million or about, and finally there is the KCB Bank loan of about 12 million.
The same question was directed to Salim Mvurya, who was the second to appear before the National Assembly's Committee on Appointments, Mvurya declaring that he has a net worth of 158 million Kenyan shillings, an increase of 38 million shillings since he was appointed the CS Mining approximately a year ago.
What is your net worth?
158 million.
When we last vetted you, what were you worth?
120.
120.
Yeah.
So you have had a growth of 38 million.
Yes.
How did it come up?
The value of the property, some property were completed, and yeah.
Rebecca Miano, if approved by the National Assembly, will become the CS Tourism and Wildlife.
Mr. Chairman, my net worth is 444 million shillings.
She started by stating that she has not increased her wealth through businesses, ventures or investments, but rather her assets have appreciated over time.
You vetted me about 22 months ago. My net worth was 397 Mr. Chairman, I have not increased the assets, but what I have done is to revalue modestly the properties, taking into account the appreciation. And that's why it is unrealized, but it is an effect of valuation to be on the reasonable side of things.
Similarly, the vetting of the fourth CS nominee reached its conclusion at exactly 56 minutes past 5 p.m. And as per the procedure, the committee chairperson took on the responsibility of asking about his fortune, Opiyo Wandayi.
What is your net worth?
My net worth is about 530 million Kenya shillings.
530. Made of?
Well, it's largely cash, a little bit of cash, real estate, a lot of interest in real estate, developed, and also farms. I have farms all over.
Ruga Eval, TV47.
Still on that, tonight, President William Ruto's cabinet nominees and allies of Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga, that is John Mbadi and Opiyo Wandayi, were put on the spot on their hardline positions against the government during the ongoing vetting of cabinet secretaries on various concerns affecting their respective dockets. The two ODM members of parliament and party officials told the committee on appointments that their hard-held positions will not affect their mandate, as Apollo Kamau details.
John Mbadi.
ODM party leader Raila Odinga nominees to the cabinet found themselves on the other side of the equation, defending Kenya Kwanza's bottom-up policies after months of protest to the finance bills 2023 and 2024, as well as high fuel prices. Mbadi, who was the first on the dock, defended his criticism, saying he was executing his oversight mandate as an opposition MP.
It's gone viral, widely known, that you referred to the cabinet secretaries then as skunks. Now you find yourself as one of the nominees. Are you a skunk?
Mr. Speaker, I have a duty, up to now, to vet and approve President's appointees. I must discharge that mandate properly. And that is what I did. I am moving to the other side of the executive. I will not have that mandate anymore. It is now the mandate of Honorable Naisula and the rest of us to determine whether John Mbadi is a skunk or not.
Mbadi now faces the daunting task of implementing Kenya Kwanza's policies on his first attempt as opposition MP in Kenya's history to head the National Treasury, where he is expected to deliver the miracle of fixing the economy.
Bottom up is actually a concept of UDA, read Kenya Kwanza. But I want to tell him that if you look at the philosophy of UDA and ODM, there is no difference. Actually, the two are social democrats.
I, James Opiyo Wandayi.
Energy Cabinet Secretary nominee Opiyo Wandayi told the Committee on Appointments that he is executing his mandate as a patriotic Kenyan, despite being an ardent critic of Kenya Kwanza.
The G2G deal. It's indeed true, Honorable Speaker, that I, alongside my other colleagues, who are vehemently opposed to this scheme. But let me tell you, Honorable Speaker, that was then.
With two of Odinga's nominees vetted, ODM deputy party leaders and former governors Hassan Joho and Wycliffe Oparanya face the panel in what will be the final push for the opposition to set foot in the Kenya Kwanza administration. Apul Kamau, TV47.
That was then. This is now. We continue following up on this vetting process to give you more updates. Of course, the same continues tomorrow. And now to this sad story. 4 people have been confirmed dead after Saturday morning inferno at Toi Market that left traders counting huge losses. And as Elizabeth Atieno now reports, Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja was pelted with stones when he visited the market as angry traders demand for investigations to establish just what caused the fire.
A cloud of smoke engulfed the Toi Market in Nairobi following a Saturday dawn inferno that has since left 4 people dead. When we visited the scene, we spotted thousands of traders trying to salvage their belongings that have since been burnt to ashes.
We've lost people who are come to at least try to rescue their stuff.
Kama mimi jana nilikuwa nimekata t-shirt ya 20,000. Nilikuwa nimeipanga. Sasa hizo ndio ile imechomeka. Sasa unaona.
The enraged traders are counting huge losses as they peruse through the ashes with the hope of finding something left of their once blooming business to no avail. The traders want thorough investigations to establish the cause of the fire.
Kabla kitu yote iendelee, tunataka kujua chanzo cha moto.
It spreads very fast. It's like ni kitu inamwagwa kwanza and then now the fire comes.
Moto sasa hii ni mara karibu ya 4 tukichomeka, lakini hatupatangi nini jibu.
According to the affected traders, the Nairobi City County government has once again failed them as it took hours before the county fire brigade could arrive at the scene.
Wengine wamekuja saa hata tumewafukuza na magari 5 ndio wanakuja watazima moto Toi imelala.
On his part, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja, through a statement, condoled with the bereaved families, further stating that the first engine to be dispatched was intercepted by thugs, hence the delay. And when he arrived at the scene, Governor Sakaja was pelted with stones as the angry traders expressed their fury over unfulfilled promises by the county government.
County government ilituahidi naenda kurevoke all title deeds. Ndio hii soko kwa soko kamili, of which we are still waiting.
Wale ambao wamesababisha hii moto, hao watu wote wachukuliwe hatua na washikwe.
This is not the first time the market is going down in flames. In June 2023, traders woke up to their property worth millions of shillings razed down. In November 2021, a fire razed down a section of stalls at the market. In 2019, 2 fires broke in the market in a span of 4 years after the 2014 fire outbreak that destroyed property of unknown value. And in 2018, the market experienced 3 fire cases, which led the then President Uhuru Kenyatta to call for investigations into the incident. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
The Kenya Pipeline Company has finished its Nakuru County tour with an on-high note, and during the second day of roadshows through Kikopey and Kihoto in Naivasha towns. And as Samira Mohammed now tells us, residents of the area were sensitized on the emergency steps to take in case of leakages along pipelines.
The Kenya Pipeline Company finished its 2 days awareness roadshow in Nakuru County this evening, with the residents being enlightened on the importance of protecting the oil lines to ensure their safety.
Educate those living along the right of way on the importance of taking care of the line and the areas that the line traverses all the way from Mombasa to Kisumu.
The roadshow that was conducted by the Kenya Pipeline in partnership with Cape Media, which entered its second day today, targeted residents of Kikopey and Kihoto in Naivasha. The truck trailed through towns in Nakuru County, entertaining and educating the residents on maintaining vigilance along the pipelines and should report any suspicious activity to relevant authorities.
We need to embrace and have people help us monitor the safety of the line, and that's why we are involving members of the public, particularly those living along the right of way, to help us manage.
Kenya Pipeline Company will now continue with the caravan in other towns, including Eldoret, Kisumu and Mombasa, in an effort to sensitize the communities on the importance of protecting the oil lines to ensure their safety.
We are talking about safety because we are beholden to the fact that whatever product we transport are very inflammable, and therefore we need to embrace and have people help us monitor the safety of the line.
Samira Mohammed, TV47.
Thank you, Samira, for that. Now, our feature tonight, we highlight the Aware community, a minority tribe living in Boni Forest, Lamu County, and whose speakers say it could soon be a dying tribe. Our reporter Sheila Chelangat files this story of a tribe pushed to leave their way of life by the prevailing security operations in the Boni Forest.
The dense green canopy stretch of Boni Forest gives a breathtaking and ethereal scene. This lush paradise has been the cradle of the Aware community for over 2,000 years, an ancient bond woven into the fabric of the forest. The Aware, also known as the Boni, are the living remnants of early Bushman hunter-gatherer societies that once roamed the East African region.
Jamii ya Kiboni ilikuwa sisi ni wakulima, watafutaji wa asali, na tulikuwa tunakula aina matunda huku mwituni. Kagurueka, kayane, dahetosenia.
Their language, a unique blend of Cushitic tones with a touch of Swahili, clings to existence with around 8,000 speakers, yet only 20% speak it fluently. Today's mission is to gather honey, a tradition passed down through generations. The journey is anything but silent. Echoing through the dense foliage is their calls.
Hey! Hey! Ah! Hey!
Seemingly seeking the guidance of a special companion. Soon their persistence pays off, guided by the lively chatter of the honey-guide bird. They follow its flirtatious dance from tree to tree, leading them to the golden treasure hidden within.
Na huyu ndege kazi yake ndio hii. Ukificha nyuki anakuja kuonyesha watu.
Sasa mbona wanasirika na hapa?
Hapa hasudi ndio anatuathiri mara nyingine naye. Lakini ndege wetu naye.
Yet this harmonious existence is under siege. The forest, their lifeline, has become a battleground torn by the conflict between Al-Shabaab militants and the Kenyan military.
Ukionekana msituni na jeshi ni balaa. Wanaambia wewe ndio unawasaidia. Wale wakikuona wanakuambia pengine wewe ndio umetumwa kutafuta sisi. Sasa wale unajificha kwa wale, unajificha kwa hawa. Hiyo ni maisha gani?
Kwa sababu maisha tulionao sahihi ni ngumu. Maisha ni ya bahari, na hiyo bahari ni kujilazimisha kwa sababu si culture yetu.
Forced to turn to a vast and unyielding Indian Ocean, the Aware face new challenges. The sea, a harsh and foreign realm, contrasts starkly with the familiar embrace of the forest.
Baharini kuna mawimbi na sijui kuogelea na kuwatoa haka, pia wako kwenye mashimo na ngana kuwatoa, bado hata sijajua kuwatoa haka.
Kwani uone bajuni wanaenda dipu kwa gilasi? Hawawezi kwenda. Hawawezi kutoka milango. Wakitoka milango watakufa. Umeona? Bahari umeiona wewe. Wale wangao wa bajuni wanafanya zifaya, wanafanya majarife, wanani watoka nje huko. Sasa hawa ni huku pwani. Na huku pwani hawana mashini ya kuvukia kule.
Mapato ya bahari kama hawa samaki nini hawataki fujo, taka mahali imetulia. Sasa ikiwa hapa poti iko karibu na sisi imeshavurugiliwa, sasa ndio umeona maisha yetu imerudi nyuma kwa sababu hakuna mapato.
As if that weren't enough, encroaching conservancies tighten the noose, pushing the Aware further between a rock and a hard place.
Hasa kuvuka huku, ukienda kilomita 1 unakuta barabara imetoka barabara Kiunga imeenda hivi. Hivi nimekuchorea ndio vile imeenda hii barabara. Hii barabara unaambiwa hii ni range ya mtu fulani. Unaweza ingia range ya mtu kutafuta asali. Ni hatia ukipatikana. Ni balaa. Sasa inabidi usiruke huu msitu, na huu msitu ndio uko na mali yetu mengi sana. Wale nyuki waliokaa miaka 2 mwaka mmoja wenye asali nyingi wako ndani ya msitu huu. kila mahali tunaambia hapa imepimwa ni range ya mtu fulani. Imepimwa ni sasa sisi ni kujifinya tu hapa, ni kujifinyilia tu hapa Ndununi na Baragoni katikati yake. Maisha ni kwa hivyo sasa.
It's not just their livelihood that's at stake, but even their very existence. Here in Ndununi village, the signs of a decline are stark, a shadow of its former self.
Na kwetu pia tumehama. Unaona hii Ndununi sasa hivi vile imekuwa. Ni msitu, haikuwa hivi. Hapa kulikuwa na mashule. Kulikuwa na mashini za kusaga mahindi. Kulikuwa na watu zaidi ya watu 800. Hii yote yalikuwa ni majumba watu walikuwa wamekaa. Lakini sasa hii maisha vile imekuwa ni watu waache makwao. Ikifika saa 12 wa Baragoni hawezi kuja hapa na Ndununi hawezi kwenda Baragoni. Mpaka kesho tunafungia geti. Kwa hivyo hata ukiumwa na nyoka usiku, hiyo ni utakufa tu. Hakuna usaidizi aina yote. Kabisa.
Their language, the vessel of their rich culture, teeters on the brinks of extinction, with fewer fluent speakers each passing day.
Kwa mimi tayari imeniathiri, sijui hizo tamaduni kufanya kuelezewa. Lakini watoto nilionao sasa hii si wa Boni. Huwezi jua ni kabila gani, ni kusema tu ni wa Kenya. Kwa sababu hawajui lugha ya Kiboni, hawajui tamaduni za Kiboni.
Watapotea sana. Baada ya miaka 5 utakuwa hakuna Wera hapa. Mimi naona hivyo, hakuna wa Boni.
For Mzee Said and the Aware community, their roots run deep into this land and forest. Their enduring wish is to reclaim their identity and preserve their heritage, with their first wish being a return to the forest.
Tupewe ruhusa turudi kwa msitu wetu tufanye kazi zetu. Kama ni kambi nyingi ama bunduki nyingi hazitulindi. Kila mtu anajilinda mwenyewe. Tupewe ruhusa mtu awe na free. Tuishi ile maisha ya zamani ya free. Tuishi mtu kwenye msitu wetu. Turegeshewe hizi rasilimali zetu. Turegeshewe. Kuruhusiwa pia itakuwa si amani sababu ni kwa mtu, kesho inaweza badilika. Tuachiwe rasilimali zetu sisi wa Boni.
This village with less than 10 households in it is slowly fading away. The locals here believing that their culture could become extinct in the near future, especially now that they have been forced to depend on the ocean, yet they have so little knowledge about it. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Lamu County.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability,
family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins.
In primary school, when we would be asked what people want to be, I was categorical that I want to be a nurse.
To hard lessons.
The consoles change, the gaming equipment keep changing.
We cover it all. Tune in to The Grind, where every episode is packed with insights.
The person who is serving customers, always be a customer-centric.
Strategies.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
And stories to fuel your ambition. Don't just dream it, grind it. Mondays at 7:30 p.m.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Welcome to The Realtor, where we take you on an exciting journey from bare land to dream home. Step 1. Finding the perfect plot. We explore location, size, and potential. Next, construction begins. Witness the foundation being laid, walls rising, and rooms taking shape. Step 3. Electricity matters. We delve into wiring, switches, and smart home tech. Step 4. From paint choices to fixtures, it's all about aesthetics. Step 5. It's time to get the right furniture. Finally, the big day. Time to move in and create memories. Join us on the journey to making homes a reality on The Realtor, Tuesdays 6:30.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new...
All right, and we get to the conversation right away. Maureen Musimbi, Assistant Director of Parks and Reserve, KWS Headquarters, as well as Lillian Nyabicha, Senior Warden in charge of Nairobi Safari Walk and Orphanage, are our guests tonight. I am excited. I think this has got to be one of the best, say episodes that we'll be having, and we appreciate these ladies. One of the reasons why we have them here, number one, is because, of course, they're ladies, but of importance in, acknowledgement of the celebrations that were conducted sometime last week. That is July the 31st, as we celebrated World Ranger Day, a male-dominated space. How do you ladies find yourselves here? We start with you, Maureen.
Thank you, Linda. And thank you first for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you.
To be interviewed here at TV47. We are very excited as KWS Rangers, especially Ready Rangers, to be interviewed in 24/47 TV. So it's very exciting moment for us as a ranger, lady ranger. And all the Ready Rangers, they perform duties as the normal rangers, men rangers. So we are just equal. We go through the same trainings at KWS Law Enforcement Academy in Manyani. So there we don't separate, we don't say these are the ladies. We start with the same training and we complete with the same training. Okay. So that is how the ranger is. Okay. It's just like a paramilitary training. Yes. All
right, we'll be coming back to what the training entails. But Manyani, let's speak about Manyani. My camera person was talking about Manyani, and I'm told that everybody has to find themselves there. What about Manyani, Lillian?
Thank you, Rinda, for this opportunity. As my colleague has just said, we are very much excited to be with you this evening. It's a pleasure.
Karibu sana.
What I can say is that what a man can do, a lady can also equally do it, even better.
Yeah.
So as a Ready Rangers, we always strive to do our best. Even at Manyani, the training is, we have a motto that says, train hard, fight easy. So it's quite tedious. It's a rigorous process, but we endured and we came out victorious. Yes.
All right, a bit about yourselves. Maybe quick, just to get to know who are these ladies that decided that they're going to fall into this direction and are doing it pretty much happy about what it is that they're doing. Here we are, a master's degree, but then you find yourself here. What are the education qualifications for someone to be a ranger?
To be a ranger in Kenya Wildlife Service, we have two categories. You can either join as a cadet, that is the management trainees.
Okay.
And myself and Lillian, we joined as management trainees in 2007.
Oh, same time?
Same time.
Beautiful.
I think we graduated in 2006 from universities. I graduated from the University of Nairobi myself. I did Bachelor of Arts and specialized in sociology. Then we were employed in 2007 to undergo a paramilitary training, come management trainee at the Law Enforcement Academy in Manyani. But still for the rangers who starts at the Law Academy, from Form 4, in fact, we just take a distant. If you have a distant, you can still become a ranger.
Okay.
Yes.
But then you people, graduating, what about you? Where did you graduate from, and why did you decide to get into this world?
Okay, for me, I also graduated from the University of Nairobi. I did a degree in education arts from the University of Nairobi. Then I proceeded to Kenyatta University, where I did my master's still in education planning and administration. I got to KWS. I can say that it was an answered prayer. I come from Kisii County, where we don't have wildlife. So my first time to interact with wildlife was when I was in Form 4. That was in the year 1999. We had gone for a trip at Hell's Gate National Park, and I was thrilled to see wildlife. It was my first time to see giraffes, to see zebras, among other wildlife species. And then interacting with the rangers at that particular time, I really felt encouraged to see the Ready Rangers walking around with their rivals in uniform, and they were very smart. And I said, this is what I'd like to do. When I joined the university, I did education. So in a way, it was a course that I saw probably I not be able to do what
but
I
not
desire.
align, yes.
Yes, something something that I decided to do in life. But when the management training course was advertised, that was in the year 2007, I said, let me try. And lucky enough, I was taken as a management trainee, went for the training at the Law Enforcement Academy for 9 months, and we came out. And funny enough, my first posting was at Elsgate National Park.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. So are you in a way sometimes, or do you ever get to points where you feel like, well, maybe this is not what we went to school to study, but then again, here we are, we're doing this, and perhaps we're going to do this for the rest of time. Does it sometimes feel like it was a waste of time, that maybe you'd have just pushed to a different direction?
No, I don't think so, Linda. When you look at Kenya Wildlife Service, they have several functions that they perform. They have conservation education. So if you're an education person, you are able to be aligned to that.
Okay.
We have people who have done sociology, community work, community development. You can be deployed to be a community warden. I started as a community warden in Isiolo.
Okay.
So it depends with what you've done. People have done criminology, they are taken to security. We have those who have done wildlife management. And when you go for training in Manyani, you become a all-round.
Okay.
So they train you to become a all-round. So you can either be a warden education, investigator, a tourism warden.
Okay.
So it is an all-round position that we are proud to be. Yes.
Are there instances that, or perhaps does the education qualifications or, credentials that one has, could they in a huge way or perhaps in a way contribute to maybe rising up the ranks or the ladder? Because I am dealing with an assistant director as well as a senior warden in charge of Nairobi Safari Walk and Orphanage.
I think growing in ranks is progressively.
Okay.
In Kenya Wildlife Service.
Would they consider your papers?
It is progressively.
Okay.
We consider papers, but not per se, because once you become a warden, you are all round. You can still be an assistant director.
Okay.
You can still be a senior assistant director. So it depends. When there's a position, you apply for that position. Then all of you go and compete for that position. So it depends with the competition also, and it depends with the structure that has been put in place.
Right.
I think my colleague here and I, we are just one rank apart. And mine I just acquired just recently because there was a vacant position where I was.
Okay.
And it's an opportunity that I think even Kenya Wildlife Service, they are considering ladies in those positions.
Okay.
When you look at our organization, we have several leaders or head of departments who are ladies.
Beautiful.
And they are heading several departments. So it's an achievement, and we also thank our organization for considering us to be in that position. The issue of education, we've been given that time with the organization so that you can pursue, you can do your personal development.
Right.
So we are given time off. You can have your time off to go and study, and that is how we were able to get our master's degree.
Right.
We also have our colleagues who already have their PhDs, and it's that opportunities that we've been given. It's through the career development and our training and development office at Kenya Wildlife Service.
Beautiful. So when you say that there was a vacant position, is it then declared vacant and people apply, or it is declared vacant and you now all are crossing fingers that you'll be the one to be picked to occupy that position?
Like for myself, my vacant position, I've been in that position for quite some times. And for the career progression, the organization felt fit that they need to fill the positions that they were vacant.
Okay.
And that is why we were given those positions. I'm still an acting assistant director.
Yeah.
And we are hoping that after 6 months, through the normal process of promotion, we'll be able to undergo through that process.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful. A typical day, in your life as a ranger. Could you paint a picture of what, say, today was like?
Now, as a ranger, it depends on the department that you are deployed to work in. For example, a ranger who is deployed in a conservation education, his or her day typically starts with planning to go out. They normally do conservation awareness, encouraging people to participate in wildlife conservation.
That is at the level of community?
That's at the level of a conservation educational ranger.
Okay.
He'll be going to the community, he'll be going to schools to interact with people so that we can be able to have many Kenyans participating in wildlife conservation. For a ranger who is deployed in security department, his or her day will be, in the morning, they'll start with morning patrols, going to the parks and patrolling around the parks so that they can be able to ensure that all wildlife within the facilities are secure, including the visitors and the KWS assets. For someone, for example, deployed in a community wildlife service, he or she will be going to manage human-wildlife conflicts. Okay. So in case there are people who have reported of sightings of animals, wildlife animals that have gone to people's lands, they'll be responding to such cases. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And human-wildlife conflict is one conversation that we still have up until date. And of course, we get to see just how then wildlife is struggling with human to, for space and all this. But just looking at the difficulties and perhaps considering the tough times that we are in, what are some of the challenges that you get to go through as female rangers, or perhaps just as rangers, in terms of addressing or trying to address some of these concerns, especially when it comes to human-wildlife conflict?
Yeah, when it comes to human-wildlife conflict, I want to say that Kenya Wildlife Service, we have so many stations, about 254 community wildlife PSC station. So when I talk about PSC, that is problematic animal control units that works closely with the communities to ensure that they contain the issues of human-wildlife conflicts. Human-wildlife conflict is a broad thing, and even nowadays we don't talk about human-wildlife conflicts. We are talking about human-wildlife coexistence.
Okay.
How do we exist?
Because they must exist
Yes, they
together.
must exist.
Yeah.
We have about 65% of wildlife outside protected areas. So you can just imagine in Kenya we have about 24 wildlife national parks, and we have 29 national reserves, including the marine, which are 4 marine national parks, and 6 marine national reserves. So you can imagine that 65% of wildlife that are outside the protected areas, meaning that these wildlife interact with the communities on a daily basis. And that is why KWS opened all these 254 stations to be able to manage the issues of human-wildlife conflicts. We don't manage the human-wildlife conflict alone. We do the management of human-wildlife conflict together with the stakeholders. Our communities are our key stakeholders. So we interact with them on a daily basis. We have those communities that have formed together to form the committees, the human-wildlife conflict committees, that every day they are able to report cases to us. We have a hotline number where they are able to report those cases, and all these cases are being handled or responded quickly as it requires. When you look at the ombudsman, that is the administrative of justice, they've been able to rate KWS highly. Why? Because whenever we receive cases, especially the human-wildlife cases, we are able to respond swiftly. And apart from that, the government of Kenya has come in with the compensation process, whereby those people are affected, be it injury, be it crop destruction, be it death, sometimes they are being killed, then they are able to be compensated through the process. And in that process, as Kenya Wildlife Service, we are just a secretariat, but we have a committee from the county that handles the human-wildlife conflict issues to ensure that communities are being compensated. We do a lot in communities. We also do the CSR projects to make sure that communities coexist with wildlife. The other day we had a long drought season in the country. And communities and wildlife, they live along each other. So with the competition with the resources and all that, we got the support from the government, and we were able to really support even the communities by making sure as we give hay to wildlife, we also give hay to livestock. We also give water to the communities. So we really tried to coexist together with the communities.
And the people are taking it, with of course acceptance, or maybe again it becomes difficult?
The one challenge that we have in KWS now, the major challenge is human-wildlife conflicts. But I can tell you that right now we are about to launch our new strategic plan, 2024 2028.
Okay,
2024,
2028.
2028.
Okay, all right.
So now this strategic plan, a lot of effort has been put in place. We want to thank the board of KWS and our Director General, Dr. Kanga, for making sure that we have a new strategic plan, that all these things have been incorporated to make sure that we coexist with wildlife. We have carers, about 7 of them, and one of them is coexistence with people and wildlife.
Okay.
Then we have how can we partner with the communities and stakeholders to make sure that we curb the issues of human-wildlife conflict.
Beautiful.
And I can tell you that it's going to come up with a very good important community programs that will support the communities. And one key is about community benefits and sharing. We've not seen that before, where communities are able to access benefits from wildlife. So it's coming up with good things that the communities will benefit. Yes.
And the other time I had conservationists here, one of them Shuja, like keep here and all these areas. And again, I will appreciate indeed the different strides that are being made by different stakeholders towards addressing this. What was the name of the lion that was in, was it the other time, was she found? The one that was moving around and scaring the people of Ongata Rongai?
Oh, okay.
Was she found?
Yeah, the lion was found.
It was the lioness.
It was a lioness.
It was a lioness.
And that is part of human-wildlife conflicts, and we have measures in place. We have our veterinary department. Whenever there's an issue like that, it's not easy to control using firearms.
Yes.
So we have our veterinary departments that react swiftly to make sure that they immobilize that animal and we bring it back to the park.
Okay.
Yes.
The Nairobi Safari Walk.
Yes.
And, you know, Kenyans just moving around and appreciating their very own. What kind of picture do you paint of it right now, even as we talk about how Kenyans then can get to appreciate this, so that as well as a country, we have local tourists and we can actually get to make money out of it?
So we have the 2 captive facilities within Nairobi National Park, that is the Nairobi Animal Orphanage and Nairobi Safari Walk. Nairobi Animal Orphanage was established in the year 1963, while Safari Walk was established in the year 2000.
Yeah.
The 2 facilities are meant to rehabilitate the sick, injured, or orphaned wild animals for purposes of trying to rehabilitate them back to the wild, because as a wildlife conservation agency, we'd like to have all wildlife within their habitats where they can be able to enjoy their life in the wild. But it happens that at times it's not possible to release some of these animals back to the wild, especially the carnivores. Reason being, they have been habituated. They are used to being fed because we feed them at the 2 facilities. And animals like the carnivores, they learn the hunting habits from their mothers. So if they are brought to the facilities when they are still young, they have that disadvantage of not learning the hunting skills. So we are forced to retain them in the 2 facilities for purposes of promoting tourism and also tourism, education, and also for research. So the 2 facilities are there, and we are encouraging Kenyans to visit them. They are within Nairobi, just a few minutes from the CBD. Within 30 minutes, you are there. You are free to walk in. The charges are very conducive. We only charge 215 shillings for adults and 125 for children.
We no longer have buses that pick people from town? Not anymore?
At the moment, we have them, but it has to be organized because of the supply and the demand. So if we have a group that would like to use the KWS buses, they are still available, but it's on request, upon request. So at the facility, we have all sorts of animals, from carnivores, we have herbivores, we have birds and some reptiles. And the 2 facilities form a good outdoor classroom for learning, especially for children who are in schools, and even up to the university levels. We have students who come from abroad to come and do their research at the 2 facilities. So they are very vibrant, and we are open from every day of the week, from 8 to 6, and we are encouraging Kenyans to visit so that they can be able to appreciate the God-given nature that we have within our country.
All right.
Yeah.
This job of yours requires a lot of bravery, you know, and perhaps commitment. And, you know, one would be curious to just understand what are some of the most interesting experiences, maybe that lifetime experience. You came eye to eye with a lion. You probably thought this is the day that I am gone, and maybe it did not happen. Which one is yours?
For me, really, I can say I've worked in community and in parks and reserves. And I can give an experience of a day when an old man, I think he was partially blind, was killed by an elephant. So I think that was a very scary moment, of course, even for us as rangers, because you have to deal with that. And this happened in a place called Oldenyuiro, in those sides of Isiolo. So you can just imagine that you're being called. There's an old man who has been killed by an elephant. And just remember that this is a culture, people who really take care of their culture. They don't even touch a body that has been killed by wildlife. So now you're there, and you were supposed now to handle that issue. In fact, I was still employed. I was still newly employed in the service. So how do you go about it? These are the Samburus. They don't even interact with women. And I was in charge of that operation to make sure that we take care of that body and we calm down the communities. So that was really very, very hard for me, but we managed. You know, when you've been trained well, you have to look for the opinion leaders. So I had to talk to the leaders who are there, and they talked to the people who are really very mad at us, and they talked to them and they calmed down. So that was one of the, I think, hard time for me. And remember that you have to carry that body. So they left, they went, we had to go and bought a blanket and carry the body and take the body to the family. So the distance also was far to Wamba, just remember from Oldenyiro to Wamba. So these are the experiences that we go through all the day. And sometimes as a wildlife manager, also in the park, you get to have all these sorts of issues. Of course, you'll have one of your ranger injured, but the good thing is that KWS, we have a good medical scheme, and we have a good welfare office that really takes care of you. Even if you are in Marsabit, they will really you'll be airlifted from Marsabit to a good hospital in Nairobi.
To make sure you're
well. To make sure that you are well so that you continue with the conservation, because this conservation is about passion. And when you look at our last strategic plan, what is our core values? The passion, the quality, integrity, innovation. So we have been instilled with the innovation and passion for work.
Beautiful. Before Lillian tells us her experience, perhaps her unique experience, quickly, is culture a hindrance to these efforts of making sure that there's proper coexistence in any way?
I can't really say so, because you'd find that culture and wildlife, they go in hand.
Hand in hand.
Yes, so you cannot say that it hinders, but sometimes as women, we have a challenge. When you go to a community like for the Maasais, women don't sit together with men. So when you do your conservation education work, it means you have to train men first, educate them first, then now you go to
so that they can as well educate their fellow men.
No, you go separately. So you have to do a double job on the same day.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right, your own experience quickly.
Mine is almost similar to Maureen's. It happened when I was in Meru National Park. That was in the year 2017. It happened that there was a woman who had gone to fetch water from a river. And within the Meru ecosystem, there are so many rivers and there are so many hippos. So it happened the nature of the hippos is that they move out to go and graze at night, and they'll be going back to their habitats very early in the morning. So it happened that a hippo had moved out of the park, and a certain lady went to fetch water very early in the morning. So the two came into close contact, and unfortunately, the hippo attacked the lady. The lady was cut into 2 pieces, and she was expectant.
Ouch.
So it was a terrible scene. We went to the place with my colleagues from the park. We interacted with the community. The community was a bit hostile to us, but then we talked with them. Like my sister said, we normally use the local leaders, the opinion leaders in the area. So we talked with the opinion leaders. We managed to to calm the situation.
Okay.
And we moved with the family through the mourning process. The good thing with KWS, once a family has been affected by wildlife, though we are not able to give back that life, but we try as much as possible to mourn with them and to try and see to it that they at least get some form of compensation.
All right.
So we got some consolation funds from KWS, and we assisted the family to have the ready buried. It was a traumatizing experience, but the good thing, as my sister said, we have a very good we have very good structures within the system. We have a wellness office that takes care of our psychological mental disorders.
Well.
So we were able to get, whenever such cases happen and you are affected, we get good support from the wellness office. So they were able to counsel us, and we moved on with it.
All right, nice. Ladies, we must close this session. But before then, perhaps 30 seconds, or 45 seconds. One, to address, what you would require or you would wish for, other female rangers, or basically the female rangers, to have, some more in terms of making sure that their interests are catered for, or perhaps they are supported better, compared to the men. And as well, your parting shots to those ladies who perhaps would be wishing to get into this space, but then they're like, really, is this the way to go? We'll begin with you.
For parting shots, I want to tell all the ladies and the youths of this country, we are taking care of the roots, especially right now we've recruited rangers. They're undergoing training in Manyani. So they will bring in a new face into the organization. So I also want to encourage them, because they are youths and they're coming in as young. I think the youngest that we recruited was 18 years.
Nice.
So you can imagine how many years this ranger will work in this organization. So we are just encouraging and telling them to come, so that tutunze pamoja. There's a campaign that is going on in KWS right now, where we are telling the public to come so that we are able to tunze mali yetu together. And that campaign, or that slogan, is tunza mali yako. So the wildlife that we have in the national park, those are our wealth. So we need to protect all of us, whether you are a woman, whether you are a man. But we know that women are good in multitasking. Can we join our efforts together and support wildlife conservation?
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Lillian.
Thank you. For my parting shot, I'd like to say that ladies, we can do anything that a man can be able to do. Even we do better. So I'd encourage the ladies out there that KWS is an equal employer. There are so many opportunities. Once they get that KWS is employing, let them apply. They join the system and they'll be able to enjoy themselves. There are many opportunities in the nature conservation and environmental conservation industry. People can be able to venture into different careers. We also have journalists in KWS.
Yes.
We have doctors. We have human resource, we have accountants. So there are wide opportunities that people can be able to venture into in wildlife conservation industry and environmental conservation industry. And also what I'd like to say is that wildlife in Kenya is our heritage. Wildlife is our God-given responsibility to take care of it. Wildlife conservation or nature conservation is the only career that was given by God. So I'd like to encourage other people out there, young ladies, to join in wildlife conservation, in environmental conservation, so that we can be able to make Kenya a better place to live. When we are facing environmental conservation challenges like drought, climate change, the people are mostly hit is the ladies. So if we put our hands together, we preserve the environment, we can be able to make Kenya a better place for everyone to live in.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much. There's one question that I saw with like a little girl who said, is there a connection between being a scout and, eventually landing into, the ranger world? Perhaps a little girl who is a scout in school asking that. Is there a connection? Once you're a scout, are the chances higher?
I think that is a good start, because now it builds your career from a younger stage.
Beautiful.
So I'm just encouraging that young girl to really have that ambition. And I know that, as Lillian has said, we have several and different areas in Kenya Wildlife Service. And even apart from KWS, we have other stakeholders who are doing conservation.
Good.
So opportunities are outside there.
All right.
Yes.
Lishan is her name, just so she's happy that at least her name was mentioned on TV.
Yeah,
ladies, asante sana. So this ones look like they're going to be Rangers for life. So Rangers for life, Rangers for life. Maureen Musimbi, Assistant Director of Parks and Reserve, KWS Headquarters, as well as Lillian Nyabicha, Senior Warden in charge of Nairobi Safari Walk and Orphanage. Asanteni sana. God bless you all, and we appreciate the job that you're doing once again to make sure that we preserve our very own. We must close this one at this very point, as I look forward to see you again on Saturday on Her Say. My name is Linda Alela. Do have yourself a beautiful, beautiful night ahead. Bye-bye.